This podcast is brought to you by Body Armor. DrinkBodyArmor.com. Only you can be better.
Introducing Body Armor Edge, sports hydration with the boost of caffeine.
Here comes John Morant, dribbles up into some full court pressure. He's quick, dodges, blowing by the defense, going coast to coast. One man to beat, and it's the big man. John leaps up. Oh, and hammers
With 100 milligrams of caffeine and 1,000 milligrams of electrolytes, there's no better way for John Morant to get his edge. It's more than a sports drink. It's Body Armor Edge.
You're listening to EPPN's Today with DW Sports Edition with DW, Mr. Tom Greer, and Snacks.
What's going on, everyone? It is the Tuesday night edition of Today with DW. It is the sports edition with myself, Mr. Tom Greer.
Hello.
Snacks.
I'm here, and I cannot believe I watched baseball today.
Oh, no. We were going to go. Come on, really?
Nope.
Why did you ruin a good start of an episode? You had to mention baseball. We have no baseball talk at all, and you had to go and mention baseball. What the hell?
I literally
Come on.
walked out of the main room at Chase Sports, and somebody had the Boston Red Sox and whoever they were playing today.
Awesome. Nothing like a little spring training baseball to make you realize that summer and spring are almost here.
How many more days, Tom?
23 more days. I don't think I got anything baseball handy. I don't think I got anything baseball related around me. I can't grab something.
Good, because we're done talking baseball. No. What's going on, Sean? What's going on, Tim?
Hola.
So it's been a quiet week in sports.
Yeah.
Tom and I were talking a little bit off pod. He was having a hard time trying to figure out what we were going to do tonight. And you know what? Not always do we, it is the sports edition, but we do talk other things. And as we have other interests, and we do talk non-sports things as well, because some of our listeners do not enjoy sports, but they still enjoy listening to us talk. So because of our newer sponsor, Hasbro, you know what? I figured, let's make it a pop culture moment. And we did talk a little bit off pod. But the big news, obviously, just finished up. WandaVision was amazing. We're going to do a full review on Friday in the Pop Culture Edition. Lewis is going to be finally back, but all three of us are pretty big into pop culture. We kind of know what's going on with everything, and all three of us have watched the finale. We all been watching the Marvel movies. We understand what's going on. So I give me your take, Snacks. What do you think? I mean, I can tell you the first two episodes were really rough for me to get through, but it was worth it at the end. I really think, as Marvel likes to do, we have more questions than answers. And some people are bitching about that, but I think that was amazing. I think that's amazing. I think that's great. But what's your take on this?
It opens up a lot of possibilities at the end, the way that they ended it.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything as all of us that know it. I mean, with Vision and everything that they had done, the way that they set that up and at the end was just it speaks volumes. Why am I feeling me?
I thought it was
Tim?
a good end. I thought it was a really fun ending. Like it left me with questions just because, again, like I think I said last week when we kind of talked about this, I don't really know a lot about these characters, like other than the movies and watching WandaVision. So I don't fully understand everything, but it was
What questions
cool.
What questions do you have, Tom?
Like I have no idea. I just don't know. Like, I don't know, at the very end when you see her, like looking at the book and like freaking out, at the very end of the last cut scene. I don't know what any of that meant. I don't know I don't know the full significance of White Vision, other than the fact that I'm assuming Vision as a whole is essentially back now.
Right. Well, back to get and they give. Well, this is going to be like the pop culture segment of the sports edition. We'll talk more about it on Friday. So the White Vision was introduced in West Coast Avengers. So what happened was in the comics, White Vision was removed of all his memory and his human side or his emotions. That's what caused his color in the comics. So he became white and became just an android, not a synthoid. So this is their representation of he had no emotions. He had nothing. And he wasn't connected to the Mind Stone anymore. And we know that Wanda, there's a piece, and we did not know this for sure, but now we know that there's a piece of the Mind Stone in Wanda. So that's even making her more powerful than anything. So with the imaginary vision touching the white vision and opening up the memories, or like the motherboard of his memories, he is now back to pretty much normal. But in the comics, they use it white because he was kind of void of all emotions.
Okay.
The other, and I'm sure the question you have is, who's this Monica girl who's just as powerful, if not more powerful, than Captain Marvel? Now, she was the first Captain Marvel before Karen Danvers. She was also the first woman to lead the Avengers back in the 90s in the comics. She was called Captain Marvel. As years went on, this character that she is now is called Photon. And obviously her history is different than the comics because Wanda kind of made her, but she is just as powerful, if not more powerful, than the Marvel Cinematic Universe's Captain Marvel.
Okay.
And the Skrull that you see there is part of the Secret Invasion series, where this goes into play in the comics, where the characters that you see, Captain America was taken hostage, and he was they can shapeshift. So Captain America was a Skrull. Reed Richards was a Skrull. Nick Fury knows what's going on, and he's working on the secret invasion because the Skrulls were trying to invade Earth because they're against the Kree, which made Captain Marvel. So we've seen the Kree in the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. So it's all this kind of weird. It's going to be, they're blowing things up. It's just crazy in how everything doing. What are you laughing about?
I'm laughing. Tom's like, are you writing this all down, Tom? Because there's going to be a test at the end of the class.
It's a lot to it's a lot to follow.
What? Who did what?
Yeah. It's a lot to follow. And that's why, like, whenever I'm watching these Marvel movies, I'm just along for the ride, like I have a whole bunch of questions, but I just, I'm like, we'll see what happens.
Hopefully I answered a few of them for you to make you kind of understand what's going on.
That helped. So that did help.
He's like, how do you spell Skrull?
Anyway, Sean says, it's a typical Marvel move and getting old. What do you mean? The show was good, not amazing. Get out of here. You liked Green Lantern. That movie sucked.
Oh.
But the other two post credits will have to. Green Lantern, the worst DC movie ever in history.
That's like, is Captain America really Captain America, or is he Johnny Storm?
Yeah, right. Because exactly.
Because I knew him as Johnny Storm first, and then is Reynolds really Deadpool, or is he
Green Lantern? Well, he does have a contract for 3 more Warner Brother movies, and there was rumors that he was going to make a appearance in Zack Snyder's Justice League cut. So we'll see what happens. I hope not.
That'd be so.
I mean, as long as he doesn't speak, I'm good. Just fly away, use your ring, do whatever.
And then they're saying that Deadpool, that he's going to make appearances as Deadpool. He's going to be replacing the Stan Lee.
Yes. So to give you guys a background of where that came from, in the early 2000s, and you would know this, Hank, that Deadpool, or mid 2000s, Deadpool was on every cover of every Marvel comic book that they put out for a month or two. So he was doing cameos, and he would do cameos in comics. So Deadpool breaks the fourth wall, even in the comics. What better person to just have him walk across the screen in the middle of a fight and say some BS, swear, whatever, and like, wow, this is bullshit. Where's my fucking tacos? And just kind of walk off screen. I think that's what they're gonna do.
Yeah, it's the perfect way to tie it, because I just feel like Deadpool as a character doesn't totally fit the vibe of what they've been trying to build in the MCU. So I feel like that he'd be the perfect character for that, for just like the random cameos and everything.
Yes. And they're rebuilding the X-Men. There's rumors out that's going to be called the new movie coming into the MCU is called The Mutants. So that will be tied in probably with Deadpool, as he does have ties with X-Men. So it'll be interesting to see what happens.
Well, that's what Stan Lee wanted to call the X-Men from the get-go anyway, was the Mutants.
Yeah.
But he was feeling that they didn't think that enough people would watch him, so he came up with the X-Men.
No, I totally agree. I totally agree. So yeah, well, I can't wait. Stop being a hater. GL is good, and we have this movie showing debate. No, it's not good. That's your opinion.
It sucked.
You know what my good friends RJ says? Opinions are opinions, and facts are facts. And you know what? The fact is that movie sucks. So we're moving on. There you go. I just knocked GL right off the board. All right, it is the sports edition. Let's get right into it, gentlemen. We got some shirt factory news. I'm excited about that as well. But Dak is back. Big deal. Prescott signing a bonus is $66 million, the highest in NFL history. Now, we were all excited about Mahomes making the huge deal on a 12-year, $530 million contract. And now we got Dak at a $66 million with a record $75 million due in year one. The first 3 years of the deal averaged $42 million per year, according to our sources. But holy crap, where is this money coming from? Especially coming off a season of no ticket sales, nobody in the stadiums. There's some huge money being played here, and we've talked about this for 3 or 4 weeks now, if not longer, saying that there's going to be the NFL is going to make some off-season or preseason or post or preseason, depending on how you look at it, major moves. And here's another one. So, Snacks, what do you think about this? And then we're going to let Tom get right into his takes.
I like I said before, if Dak hadn't gotten hurt, I think they would have broke down and gave him the money then. I think now that he's coming off of this thing, I mean, and then you've got Alex Smith, who came back and played phenomenal. Coming back off of injury, it just they were nervous about it after the fact, and they decided that Dak was their guy, and that's what they wanted to do. So, and I think a lot of it came down to the players telling them too that's what they wanted. I mean, I don't know about Mike McCarthy. I mean, McCarthy will take whoever he needs to, but his days are numbered.
I mean, we all know that the Cowboys weren't that great this year. Do we think is he worth this? Tom, is he worth this money?
It's not, but the problem is it's not really about that anymore. Like when you have somebody that you think is your franchise quarterback, like the guy that you're going to win with, you just have to pay him. You have to set the market with this guy because look, I mean, let's be honest, Dak Prescott's been in the league for 4 or 5 years now. He's been in the playoffs twice, got bounced in the first round. And the last time he played a full season, he went 8-8 and missed the playoffs in the worst division in football. Like the NFC East is literally has been the worst division in football for the past 3 years. Right. So I mean, but he's still too good to just let walk away. So you have to pay him. The Cowboys literally had no other option. It was either pay him or trade for Russell Wilson, and that wasn't going to happen anyway.
I don't see them getting Russell.
Well, wait a minute. Hold on. Let me. All right, Tom, how you want to respond to that?
Oh no, I'm saying they're not going to get Russell Wilson now. They just paid Dak. I'm just saying that if they didn't pay Dak, their only options are to either trade for Russell Wilson or start with a young quarterback because there's nobody else you can get other than Russell Wilson that's going to put you in a better place to win other than Dak.
Okay. Right, but I don't think that they would have. I don't think that they would have traded enough because they would have had to trade an exorbitant amount of stuff to get the rights to have Russell Wilson, and then they would have had to pay him on top of that, and he would have wanted more than $42 million.
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's why they had to re-sign Dak Prescott. It isn't just them saying, okay, is this guy going to get us to a Super Bowl? It's just okay, this guy's been really good in the league for the past few years, and can we get anything better than him? Because they're not in a position, the Cowboys aren't in a position to just restart. They got 3 guys making over $20 million. They have a team that has to win right now with the talent that they have on their team. So there aren't any other options. Name me another quarterback other than Dak Prescott that you would put under center for the Cowboys and they'd win they'd win games. They tried that
Aaron
last
Rodgers,
year. They didn't win anything.
All
right, you're not going to get Aaron
Rodgers.
You're not going to get Aaron.
But what I'm saying is Packers aren't paying him. So why are all these younger quarterbacks making more than Aaron Rodgers, who's one of the best quarterbacks in history? So going on what you're saying is
when you sign the
they
deal.
Got to pay him to keep him. Doesn't. But again,
it goes by but the thing is, it goes by when you sign the deal. At one point when Aaron Rodgers signed his deal with the Packers, he was the highest paid quarterback in football. But then the following year came, and I think Russell Wilson was up for a new deal. Russell Wilson set the market and made more money than Rodgers. And then the following, that's just how quarterbacks work. Like every year you have a new quarterback.
I guess old quarterbacks don't need to get. So I guess old quarterbacks don't need to get paid, and we're just going to take the young ones and just pay them. So it's just like having outsourcing your job, going, you know what, we're going to fire you, but we're going to bring in a young buck and turn around and pay him twice as much.
But what would you expect the Packers to do? Like after you just sign Aaron Rodgers to a deal and another person gets paid, like you just signed Aaron Rodgers signs his deal.
But we just talked about this a month ago that he doesn't even know if he wants to stay, and they're not giving him what he needs, and he should get more money, and they're not giving him the weapons that he needs. So I'm using the Packers because we've all talked about it. And we all agree that the Packers do not seem to give him or warrant him or credit him what he needs to win games. So basically, from your statement of saying, well, Dallas needed to pay him or they're going to lose him. Why does Dallas feel that way when Aaron Rodgers has publicly stated, and I'm sure he's teeter-tottering about leaving? Why is it one team feels pay him?
Because if the Cowboys didn't pay Dak, somebody else would have. If the Cowboys didn't pay Dak, somebody else would have. Like if the Cowboys don't pay Dak what they paid him, the Carolina Panthers, the Saints probably not because they don't have enough money, but somebody else, some other team is going to pay him. If you think he's your guy and he's going to win, you pay him.
But you're saying somebody else wouldn't pay Aaron Rodgers if he left?
No, I think somebody would. But the difference is Aaron Rodgers already signed the deal. Like the Packers, he signed the deal. The Packers aren't just going to go up to him and be like, all right, Rodgers, for no other reason other than Dak Prescott's making the most amount of money in the league. We're just going to do a new deal with you. Like they're not just going to do that.
I'm not saying because of Dak. I'm saying overall, he's not an appreciated player, and he can definitely cancel his contract. But again, will somebody pay him?
He can't just cancel it. He can't just cancel his contract. Like he's got to play it out. If he doesn't show up, he doesn't get paid.
Well, and I'm sure that's fine too. At some point, we've had players do that.
Yeah, Deshaun Watson's going to do it.
Turn themselves into free agents. Yeah. So it's not about not getting paid. It's about not getting paid enough. And
you know what?
I don't think
these guys, so so the quarterback should actually have in their clause in their contracts that if they want to be the highest paid quarterback that's going at the time or within the top three, then that has to be something that's put in their contract. Like, I mean, he got $134 million extension on his contract. And, it's like, live up to it. And that's the problem is that you don't make these guys, they go, oh, well, I want to be the highest paid quarterback this year. Okay, well, you are this year. Next year, you might not be because they're going to pay somebody else.
Exactly.
But that's the thing. If you want to make sure you have that guarantee, say, okay, well, listen, I want to be paid this much this year. I want to be the highest paid quarterback this year. Next year, I want to be in the top 3. And the next year after that, I want to be in the top 5. So that way, if there's always, somebody gets paid more money, like Mahomes gets paid money, more money, and it bumps you down, then they have to. But that's something that you deal with at the point or at the time that you're signing it. Make it that way. But don't, I can't stand the fact that these quarterbacks, they sign a deal, you make a contract with the team, and then all of a sudden, because you played good that year, you feel you're worth more money. Well, what happens if you shit out the next year?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you sit there and you're sitting there going, Jesus, I got 40 interceptions in half a season. Well, do you give money back to the team? You say, oh, here, listen, I didn't play up to snuff, so I'm going to give you an extra $40 million back.
Yeah, and it's not necessarily Dak's fault. And it's not necessarily Dak's fault that that's what the quarterback market looks like. It's not Dak's fault that Aaron Rodgers or Russell Wilson or any of these quarterbacks signed for what they signed with a few years ago. That's just what the quarterback market was for. Dak just happened to be the prime free agent quarterback at this moment. It's similar to when Kirk Cousins left Washington. When Kirk Cousins left Washington at the time, for some reason, he was the hottest quarterback commodity that was a free agent. Like everybody wanted Kirk Cousins because of his talent. And he was the highest paid quarterback in pro football. And that should have never happened. But the reason it did was because he was a quarterback of some talent that people thought they could win with. So he set the quarterback market,
So I guess maybe I miscommunicating.
Kirk Cousins stinks, and he stole a bunch of money from Minnesota.
I'm not saying that Aaron Rodgers needs to be the highest paid quarterback. I guess what I'm saying is that Dallas is realizing that they have a player that they are going to take care of, and like Tom said, we're going to pay him. Nobody's doing this for Rodgers, and this is why Rodgers is a little upset. I don't think Rodgers is upset with the fact of his money. I think Rodgers is upset with the fact that they're spending money in the wrong places.
Rodgers is probably just upset that he hasn't won. Like he's probably just upset that he got paid. He's been paid by the Packers like that. He got paid a whole bunch of money. He's just probably upset that he's got in his entire career, he's got one Super Bowl appearance and is athletically one of the best quarterbacks to ever play the game. That's probably what he's upset about.
Dude, he got 134 million.
Yeah, exactly.
134 million.
I understand that. I agree with the both of you. I just don't feel, like I said, what I'm saying is Dallas seems to want to take care of their players. Whether or not he renegotiates his contract or not with Aaron Rodgers, we said the Packers don't seem to respect him as far as we don't give you the weapons you need to go into the Super Bowl. All three of us have agreed that they don't have the weapons they need. It's not about necessarily raising Aaron Rodgers' rate of pay. I mean, is he worth more than he's getting? I would say yes, because he is one of the best quarterbacks ever to walk on that field. But at the same time, you're only as good as the people around you. Again, this isn't Michael Jordan where one man in basketball can change a game and take over a game. I just feel the Packers, I use Aaron Rodgers as the example because we've talked about them now.
It's a good example.
The rate of pay. What's that?
Yeah.
It's a good example.
Yeah.
But you can't, if you increase one player by that much money and you have a salary cap that you have to go and you have to abide by that salary cap. Now that limits you on getting any players. So if somebody else comes in that wants more money, they do it. You're talking about Dak Prescott getting $42 million and Aaron Rodgers getting $134 million. I'm sorry. I'm not a mathematician, but I guess, guess what? That's almost 3 times more.
But it's based on the contract over years
and
as well.
It's based off of performance.
Sean says, how will Dak's contract affect Lamar Jackson?
Lamar Jackson's about to make a whole bunch of money because Dak Prescott got all this money with no MVPs under his belt. Lamar Jackson was an MVP at one point. So, I mean, assuming nothing happens to Lamar going forward, because I don't know, is he going into his 4th year or his 3rd year? He's going into his,
I think it's his 4th.
And he wasn't, I don't think he was a 1st-round pick either. I think he was a 2nd-round pick. So he's only got the 4th year. So they're going to have to pay him after this year.
So I guess let's turn this around. Obviously,
he'll be the one to top Dak.
Right. So with the salary caps, you're spending this kind of money on a quarterback, and we'll use Aaron Rodgers as an example. And we'll use Dak. We'll use Brady, whatever. So when you spend this kind of money on a quarterback, it limits you, I would assume, that you can't get the players you need as the weapons. Now, could this be the Packers' problem? That they spent money on Aaron and their salary cap is smaller than the others? I don't necessarily think so, but it's a goddamn good excuse for them to say, well, we can't afford him. And me as a quarterback, be like, well, okay. I would even pretty much, I wouldn't say I would take a cut in my salary, but maybe I would. Maybe I would because I want the championship. Yeah, I got 100 and some odd $1 million. And we've heard players take cuts going, I'll give you, here's an extra $40 million or $40,000, $50,000. Throw it out there to give me a goddamn receiver. We've heard about that in the past.
So Brady's done it. Brady was famous for doing that. Brady, the reason he went to Tampa was because he never really made the big bucks with New England, but he allowed them to surround him with another team, with like a team around him. This is going to be interesting to see how the Cowboys handle this whole Dak thing. Cause like I said, they got like 3 or 4 players making over $20 million. So it's going to be interesting to see how they could fit a team around him. Dak was never the problem. Exactly. Their defense was always the problem.
So you got to look at it like this. Salary cap, I think was last year was about $180,000 or $180 million. Okay. $180 million. If you got one player that's making $42 million a year, and so say Aaron Rodgers, if it's $134 million a year that he's making, I mean, I don't know
that a year.
No, he's making close to a year. I'm not sure what it is. I think the extension was for $134 million. It was a contract extension for $134 million.
Yeah, but it was
4 years.
Spanned out.
On top of what he was already making. Right, but it was on top of what he was already making. So when you got your starting left guard, that's your backside protection, turning around and saying, hey, you know what? I'm going to take off $2 million so we can go after some players.
Yeah.
Why is he giving up money? He's not making the most money on there. He's protecting the guy that's making the most money.
Yeah.
And that's the way it's just, It's ridiculous.
Right, I understand what you're saying.
Did you find it, Tom?
I'm looking right now. I'm trying to find the.
But like Tom said though, Brady's been known to do that. Like he'd take a salary cut to get the team around him. I mean, you're making millions and millions of dollars if you're smart with your money. I'd rather have more rings than an extra $1 million in my pocket. Does that make sense? I mean, I'd rather have another championship
quarterback
ring.
Saying that you want to make more money when you're not letting, and you're saying, "Well, I'm not getting the weapons." Well, guess what? We'll give us some of your money, and we'll go get some more weapons because they want money.
That's what I'm saying. But that's what Brady has done. That's what I'm saying. Brady has done that. I mean, obviously, at the same time, I don't think Aaron Rodgers needs to do that. I think the team needs to be smarter with their money and figure out what's going on. Yes, of course, they're going to spend a lot of money on Dak or for Dallas on Dak. But again, I mean, did you have to spend that kind of money to keep him? Were you worried? Were you that worried that if he left that you're going to suck even worse than you are this year? He obviously didn't work out for you this season, let alone the last.
Well, he was hurt,
seasons.
but he got hurt. But he got hurt.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
That's why it's
just trying to
interesting. It does kind of suck for the Cowboys that they have to pay him this after coming off of a really bad ankle injury. But I mean, again, it's just that like the Cowboys had three options to sign Dak, trade for Russell Wilson, start over with a young quarterback, because there's nobody else available quarterback wise that's going to give you the production that Dak gave you. And the only other person that could give you that production is Russell Wilson, and you were never going to trade for Russell Wilson.
They did not have. Come on, rephrase that, Tom. They didn't have to. They chose to pay him that much.
But Herb, if they didn't pay Dak and Dak hit free agency and went to another team, who's the better option?
You don't think that he would have taken less money?
No, why would he take less money when he didn't have to? He had the Cowboys by the balls.
They offered him that deal. They could have paid him less.
They've been in these contract talks since last year, and they stalled. That's why they franchise tagged him last year.
I understand.
He had the Cowboys. He had Jerry Jones' balls in his hand and tightly gripping, because
and where did that get him? Nowhere.
Where to get Dak? It got Dak the highest paid quarterback to be the highest paid quarterback in the NFL.
What I'm saying is that's Dallas Cowboys' choice. They didn't have to do that.
Yes, but they didn't have another option. The Cowboys didn't have another option. That's what I'm saying. Is like
there's always options.
Who though?
Listen, we'll see what happens. And this could fall back on, this could kick them right in the ass. We could see what happens.
Like realistically, look, Dak won out because look, he gets to be the highest paid quarterback. And if the Cowboys don't figure it out in 4 years, because it's a 4-year deal. If the Cowboys don't figure it out and start winning in those 4 years, Dak could take it and just be like, all right, I'm out, and go bounce and get a bigger contract with another team in a following year. Like he didn't have to sign a 5, 6, 7-year deal.
And depending on his performance, we'll see. Sean says, Herb, you're thinking glory, but a lot of these guys are thinking short-term, pay me now. I totally disagree with you. We're talking quarterbacks here. This is not short-term. If it was short-term, Mahomes wouldn't sign a 12-year deal. Aaron Rodgers wouldn't stay with the Packers as long as he has. Brady stayed with the Patriots for how long? And he went to the Tampa Bay to start another long-term possible. Well,
he's probably got like 2 years. He's probably going to retire in like 2 or 3, like 1 or 2 more years.
You want to talk defensemen and maybe some offensive players short terms? Yeah. But when it comes to quarterbacks, there's no short term here. This is long term. Quarterbacks want rings, they want championships, and it is more glory than it. Don't get me wrong.
But it's different nowadays. Well, it looks like it's going to be different nowadays, because we're having quarterbacks like move like crazy. Like you have Russell Wilson wants out, Deshaun Watson's trying to move, Dak stayed, but now we have Jared Goff and Matt Stafford on the move. Like quarterbacks are changing places regularly now. This is a weird time for the NFL.
I understand that, because I think Brady set the trend. But again, I don't think it's glory. I don't think it's short term. I think they want to find a home long term. It's not necessarily being the highest paid quarterback. I want rings. I really feel that it is not about the pay. I mean, yes, pay is important. But do you think that Aaron Rodgers,
they don't want to wind up being Deshaun Watson. They don't want to wind up being Deshaun Watson, where they sign a really long-term deal with a team that doesn't really care, and then they're stuck. Like Dak signed a 4-year deal because he can collect on all of this money, and he's still going to be young enough to have another payday at the end of it. Like it's not like assuming he plays well. Well,
so use Mahomes then as a 12-year deal.
But Mahomes already been there, done that. Mahomes basically went and won a Super Bowl already. He's hit the pinnacle. You know, the Chiefs are going to hate that deal in the end anyway, because by the end of that deal, they're going to
the Pinnacle's having the most rings, not just one. But I understand.
No, the Pinnacle's winning a Super Bowl, because not everybody's going to win like as many as Brady did. You know,
we don't know that.
So here's the salary cap breakdown for Green Bay Packers. $37 million of it is Aaron Rodgers.
Yeah.
Okay.
$22 million of it is Desarius Smith. $16 million, almost $17 million of it is Devontae Adams. Preston Smith, $16 million. Bakhtiari is getting 10, almost $11 million. And then you've got a couple guys that are making 8, 7, 6, whatever. It goes down. AJ Dillon, if AJ Dillon, the running back, breaks out and becomes another freaking superstar running back, he's making $1.2 million right now a year. They're having salary cap issues because why? They've got all these players that are making big bucks.
Yeah. No, well, that's the thing. It's when you have a lot of players that are making a lot of money, it gets hard to surround yourself with with good talent, like with the rest of a team. You know, that's why a lot of the guys, some quarterbacks do take less money, but you can't fault the guys for taking as much money as they possibly can because the quarterback is the premium position. You know, Trent Dilfer a ring.
Sean, go away. Just go away, Sean. GL sucks.
And
no, I'm just
Dan Marino gave his linemen all isotoner gloves. That's what they got for a bonus from him. Remember those commercials?
Yes. Again,
no, of course you wouldn't, Tom.
No. Again, I don't think a lot of these players are thinking short term. I think there be a lot of moves this year, but it's more of long term. They're not looking for. They want to stay with a franchise. And now
they're looking to find what's going to give them the most money and give them the best chance to win. That's all these players care about. Some of them don't even care about winning. Some of them just care about where they're going to get the most money.
Well, that's what Sean's saying. It's more payday than glory, and I don't necessarily agree with that. I think quarterbacks is more glory than the rate of pay. Granted, whatever they had to or they chose to, Dallas gave Dax a lot of money, but I think Brady has shown, he's given money away and saying, "Here, put it back in, so we can get other players." I want my rings. I want my rings.
Not everybody does that. You know, like there aren't not every quarterback does that. Like, you know, like a lot of them do just chase the cash.
I'm saying I disagree. I think in the last few years, it's more about glory than it is cash because the cash is coming as it is. I agree to disagree. We all have our agree to disagree. But as far as quarterbacks are concerned, I think it is more glory. I think it has a lot to do with glory. Granted, they're already getting the cash. It's not even anything about that.
But I think you're going to see players. I think you're going to I think it's going to slowly. It's not going to be what the NBA is, where the players just run the league in the NBA. They could just bounce from team to team. But you're going to see players in situations that they're not fans of, and they're going to try and force their ways out. Like at some point, the Texans are going to blink and trade Deshaun Watson because he's not happy. And I think you're going to see more situations like that. At some point, if it gets to this point, the Seahawks are going to blink and they're going to trade Russell Wilson. Like guys are just going to care about where they can get the most money and get either get titles. Like they're not just going to show loyalty to a specific team if they don't feel like they're respected there, you know?
How about after we got done talking last week, all of a sudden I go into a sub place, Jersey Mike's there to get a sub. Yeah. And I'm looking up and there's Sam Darnold. They're looking to trade him.
Yeah.
I'm like, we just talked about this.
Like a bag of footballs, please.
Yeah, we did. And by the way, Mr. Murphy, I can use Brady as an example because he is a player in the NFL. He's not fictitious. He may be a little bit stranger than most, an exception to some rules, but I can still use him. Aaron Rodgers is an exception to some of the rules out there. Man is not getting worth what he's paid for, and the team seems to disrespect him because he doesn't give him weapons that he needs to win a goddamn game. All right, can we move on? We're moving on to the next topic. All right, Russell Wilson trade is to the Bears' top priority to solve quarterback solution. Chicago Bears are making a serious push to acquire Seattle Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson shortly after his agent named the Bears as one of 4 teams he would be willing to play for. Now, I think we kind of hit this a little bit before. Obviously, Dallas Cowboys are off the bill. Bears, Las Vegas Raiders, and New Orleans Saints. This obviously, do you think the Dax move or the contract could affect Wilson's negotiations going on right now? Would this affect that? Either one of you go first.
I think it's gonna. I think it's gonna make them kind of rush to get him. I think if the Bears want him, they're gonna go get him.
Well, it's got to be at this point. Like it looks like it's just got to be the Bears because, like it says, it's the Cowboys obviously aren't going to trade for him. Dak's there. Mike Mayock likes Derek Carr, unless they're just throwing up smoke screens. The Raiders GM says he likes Derek Carr, and the Saints aren't going to have the money to pay Russell Wilson. So like if he's going to get out, he's either got to expand his list or he's going to the Bears. But like what do the Bears have to trade? I think they're picking like what? I don't know if the Bears are picking 20th, but they're picking deep in the first round. I know they have like 8 picks, but I mean, are they going to have enough picks to get Russell Wilson? Like, remember, Matt Stafford got like 2 first-round picks, like a second or a third-round pick and Jared Goff. Like, what are the Bears going to have to trade to Seattle? Like, is Seattle going to want Mitchell Trubisky? I don't think so. You know, like.
And who are the Bears? I didn't even know they played this year.
Yeah,
it's like the bad news Bears.
But it would be a good spot. Like the Bears, like really would be a good spot for Russell Wilson because you could put a team around like that. You could just Russell Wilson's like one of the best quarterbacks in the league, like top 5 at the very least. He'll turn lemons into lemonade with whatever you got on offense, and their defense is good enough. It'll be like when he first got to Seattle. You know,
right? No,
that's where I'd go. If I was Russell Wilson, I'd want to go to the Bears.
Now, what? Before I get in the snacks take, Raiders. I think they are a good team. They started out great this year. They ended up not finishing well. They got a great quarterback. Saints. I don't think the Saints need much more. I think the Saints have a great base. They have a strong, reliable team. I think they don't need any more. And again, save your money and get some great receivers. Both teams' quarterbacks are good. Both teams' quarterbacks are decent. And I think the Saints pulled out a solid turnout this year, better than most years.
But Drew Brees is retiring.
I know. And again, I think
like,
they got a good base.
Like, do you really think Taysom Hill's the guy? Taysom Hill's their backup. Taysom Hill's the guy that's going in and taking over for Drew Brees right now.
But Tom, we didn't think Tom Brady could do it either. And yes, I know this is all about the Brady show, but he's the exception to a rule.
You can't just be like Taysom Hill. You can't just be Taysom. You can't just say Taysom Hill is going to be the next Tom Brady and take the Saints to a Super Bowl or something like that. You can't say that. Because we've seen Taysom Hill. He's not going to be the next. We've seen Taysom Hill.
We saw Brady in his first game. We've seen Brady come out in his first games, and he sucked. So again, I'm using it as an example because we can't. Maybe it's a sheep in wolf's clothing. We don't know that, and obviously they don't have the money to get Wilson. That's the downfall for the Saints. The team does not have money. But again, I feel that it's we can't judge him once you get up there and you're forced to be on the starting line. Whether it's Brady, whether it's Michael Jordan in the NBA, whoever it is, Dan Marino, whoever, you're forced to do that. It changes your mentality. We'll only know until he gets up and steps up and plays.
But he has been
the starter. He sucks.
He started before. He has started before. I think he's probably won a game or 2 in the NFL, but it's like saying that the Saints are going to be the same team without Drew Brees and having Taysom Hill be their starter. I just don't I can't physically believe that at all. I'm not. First off, I'm not saying that they're going to be the same team. I think they have a good base. I really do. They do. Well, they have a good team around them. Yeah.
I think Russell is best going to the Bears. Snacks. What do you think?
I think Russell's going to go to the Jets.
You think he's going to going to the Jets? He said he doesn't want to get hit anymore.
Are you being serious?
He said he doesn't want to get hit anymore, and the Jets don't have a good
I'm going to tell you right now, I think that coach really likes Wilson and wants to try and find some way to coax him to get there. I mean, the Bears are obviously going to look at him because the Saints aren't going to be able to because of their salary cap issues. And I think they're going to give Taysom Hill. He's going to be their starting quarterback this year. I think that's who they're going to put in. I do. But you know what? If you watch him in a game, he is just a bigger version. He's taller version of Drew Brees. He throws the ball like Brees. His stance is the same as Brees. He basically just mimics him on the way that he does everything. And he can run. He's a mobile quarterback. He didn't play that bad when Drew Brees was out and he went in at QB. He did great.
I agree. I just don't think over a full season, Taysom Hill is going to be able to keep the Saints at the same level as Drew Brees was able to keep them at. I'm not.
Yeah, but are we talking about Drew Brees 5 years ago? Or are we talking about Drew Brees now? Because Drew Brees
I even take Drew Brees now.
He wasn't really impactful this year as he was before because he could scramble and do all the other stuff. He couldn't do that. You can see it in him, in his hitch and the way he's always jacking that shoulder around. He's got some major issues.
But I feel like I feel like Taysom Hill probably, if Taysom Hill looks like Drew Brees, he looks like Drew Brees now. Like it's not, I don't think Taysom Hill is Drew Brees would be anything close to what Drew Brees was at the peak of his career, you know?
Right. But you've got a guy right now that's in there that's got multiple weapons because of his age and because of his abilities. And he knows your system.
Yeah.
So you've got to give him that opportunity.
Oh yeah.
To take 1 year and say, okay, we're going to do it. Now, if they go in 4 games or 3 games even, and he's not doing it, I got news for you. They're going to probably get somebody in there, but they just, with the salary cap issues, they don't have any freed up money. And then they've got dead money.
So you just brought up, so obviously we're talking about Wilson going to the Bears. You brought up the Jets, which is kind of funny. So what do you think it would have to take Wilson to go to the Jets over the Bears? Is it going to be, obviously, let's throw money out of the equation. Okay, let's throw that out of the way because obviously we know it's about money. We know that to a point's money. Let's throw the money out of the equation. What do the Bears offer over the Jets? Let's say the same amount of money. Let's say whatever it is, both teams are going to pay him the exact same amount of money. What's going to offer him? What's going to pull him over to go to the Bears or over the Jets? Is it going to be the receivers? Jets don't have that weapon. I just don't think they have the weapons they need for Wilson. But again, I'm not familiar enough with the Bears to understand that. So what do you think it would have to take? If the money was exactly the same, what would make it a deciding factor going to the Jets over the Bears? Either one of you go first.
Go ahead, Tom.
Well, Russell Wilson's got to okay because I think he's got a no trade clause in his thing. And Al said something like in the comments that we're all also always forgetting the Dolphins because the Dolphins are like an actual team that could actually go get somebody if they really needed to, which is, again, Russell Wilson just has to say it's okay and it'll happen. The Jets have like some of the most to give up for Russell Wilson. Like if the Seahawks wanted to get as much as they could for him, the Jets are who they should call because the Jets could give up an insane amount of picks and could probably give them a defensive player or two or give them a player off their roster or two. Probably just
can they afford to do that to stay? I'm not saying
the Jets have like, I think it's in salary cap space. They're like the second team on the list.
I'm not talking money wise. I'm talking player wise. They're already
but they can go get the free agents.
They'll give up picks. They'll just give up their picks. They have the second overall pick in the draft. So if you trade, if you hypothetically speaking, if they trade with the Jets give them the second overall pick, and the Seahawks can go get Justin Fields, Zach Wilson, one of these quarterbacks out of the draft, and then they got somebody that they could just replace Russell Wilson with. They don't. They could reset,
Right. So what about current lineup on both teams? Who's gonna offer Wilson more? Who's got the better weapons? I think that's
Bears.
what it would come down to.
The Bears.
The Bears do. Okay.
Yeah.
Right, but it's a selling point. If you turn around, if the Jets turn around and go and get a lot of free agent offensive linemen and get rid of the guys that they don't want. I mean, Richie Incognito just came up. I know he's an asshole and people don't like him. But let me tell you something. When he's on that front line, he blocks.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, that would be a huge pick. If the Jets were to go and get him, I mean, he was with the Bills and then he was with frickin' the Raiders and stuff like that. But you know what? He's a legit player. That's all you got to do. You got to go out and find the free agent linemen that are out there, build an offensive line and say, these are the guys that are going to protect you. They go and trade with the Seahawks. So if they're going to give their number 1 draft pick or their number 2 pick in the draft,
mm-hmm.
and then I think they have 2 other draft picks in the first round. I think they have 3 total, maybe 2.
Yeah.
So if you turn around and say, okay, well, we're going to give you this, but we want to have Wilson. And then I understand that we want, one of your linemen. Maybe Russell Wilson says, listen, if you can get him, I'll come.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? If you can get my center, I'm over. I'm there. It doesn't. It's all going to come down on how the circle. Yeah, but it's a carousel. It's how are you going to do it, and you got to sell it. Yeah, the Bears have the best weapons, per se over there. But on the same note, maybe it doesn't fit with Russell. Maybe he doesn't like that. But maybe he likes the fact that his head coach is a defensive coordinator, and they've got an offensive coordinator, whoever's going to be in there, that he gets along with, and they both pitch him and say, "Listen, we're going to go build you a line. Who do you want?
Right.
Who do you want protecting you?" And he has a say so in it. Then they're going to give him that.
True.
Right.
That's very true.
That makes sense. I think there's more to say. Like I said, it's not just about the money. That's why I threw the money off the table. Obviously, it is a large part about the money, but it's not the end all. As the both of you stated, that there's other things going on. Are you going to give me the offensive line? And if the Jets take him, some other players may be wanting me like, I want to go to the Jets. I have a quarterback that actually can do something now. I want to go over to the Jets and try it out.
Similar to how if the Bears got Russell Wilson, it'd be the best quarterback that the Bears have ever had. If the Jets got Russell Wilson, they would have just traded for the best quarterback they've ever had in their entire franchise. You know, so it all comes down to if Russell Wilson wants to go there, because if he does, the Seahawks will get an absolute haul for Russell Wilson. They'll get they'll get more back from the Jets than they would get from anyone else, at least picks wise. You know,
and at the same time, as both teams are, yeah, of course, the Jets were definitely a lot worse than the Bears this year. But would you want to go over there to make a name for yourself? Like, yeah, I might have a hard time maybe the first or second year getting the Super Bowl, but if I bring some credibility back, the Jets need credibility more than any other team, I think, right now in the NFL. They're really struggling. I would want to make a name for myself. Now, obviously, it comes down to money and whatnot, but to make a name for myself, it is part of the glory to say, I got this team back where it should be. Yeah. With the people that I have. I think that would mean more going to the Jets than it would the Bears. But again, we don't know if they don't.
You don't know. And it also might be a lot. Like, it might be a lot to ask. Like, it's a lot. I feel like it's a lot to just ask somebody to just take on that responsibility of being the one that'll bring somebody back to relevancy. Like, it is still a big deal because the Bears haven't been anything to really write home about for years. Like, they made the playoffs a couple of times.
But isn't it your responsibility as a quarterback anyway? That's what your role is to bring a team back. Or to keep the team.
That's true. But it's different. Especially it's different with the Jets because the Jets for what, the past like 20 years outside of 2 NFC championship games, for more than 20 years, have been basically embarrassment's a really harsh word, but they haven't been the best, like the best NFL team ever. You know, it's like them and the Browns for embarrassing franchises. Like, you're taking on a lot more than if you're just going to the Bears, I feel like, you know? It's New York. You're the little brother in New York, no matter how you are, because it's Giants and then Jets. You know, do you want to take on all that? I don't know. Not everybody does.
That's true. All right. Snacks, any final words before we take our break? Anything you want to add to this?
No, I think it would be a good fit for him to go to the Jets, to be honest with you. And like you said, the big brother, little brother thing. I mean, everybody's goal is to play, NFL anywhere, but the two teams are the Jets and the Giants right now. I mean, look at what happened with Tom Brady when Bledsoe was there. Bledsoe was starting to bring it back, and then Brady took it the rest of the way. And, you ask yourself, you got Troy Aikman and Dorsett. People remember those combos, and Michael Irvin, it's funny. I'm a football fan, but you talk to somebody, you could ask a fan of a team and say, hey, all right, well, give me 2 of the names of the starting offensive linemen that you got. What? I don't know.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? I like the guys. I've been a Patriots fan forever. I go, okay, well, who was the quarterback in 1997 or who was the quarterback in 1986? And they're like,
you can do is just say the quarterback before Brady, and half people don't even know who the quarterback was before Brady anyway. So, but yes, I understand what you're saying. Right. Well, on that bombshell, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to be talking about, are All-Star Games worth it anymore? We're going to find out. And also today in sports history, brought to you by The Shirt Factory. Don't go anywhere. Grab your drinks.
Introducing Body Armor Edge, sports hydration with a boost of caffeine.
Kyler Murray drops back, looks downfield. Here comes the blitz. Murray finds an opening. And Sideline dives, and he misses. He's got daylight. Murray sprinting, picking up speed.
With 100 milligrams of caffeine and 1,000 milligrams of electrolytes, there's no better way for Kyler Murray to get his edge. It's more than a sports drink. It's Body Armor Edge.
Welcome back, everybody, to the Tuesday night heated discussion of Sports Edition here today with DW. I'm liking it. I just
want to say, Patriots fans didn't exist before 2000. Patriots fans didn't really exist until 2000. That's why they don't know who came before Brady.
When they had the center snapping the ball as their logo. And it wasn't deflated.
Come on now. It's like all the hockey fans. It's like all the people that hopped on hockey and were Penguins fans after Sidney Crosby came into the league. Nobody was a real Pats fan until Brady got there. Until Brady started winning Super Bowls.
Do you remember the days when the Cowboys, everybody was a Cowboy fan all of a sudden, and all of a sudden now they're all hiding under rocks?
Oh yeah, well I mean, like it's been 2 decades and the Cowboys haven't done anything.
Look at hers playing the cricket.
What are you talking about? When you were a Saints fan first.
Anyway, let's go on.
He's a Saints fan.
Let's get down there.
You're a Saints fan?
I was a Saints fan when I was a young kid. Yeah.
Oh well, you're only allowed to change it before your 18th birthday.
Oh yeah, because that's a rule. Anyway,
no, there is a rule. It's a rule of fandom.
Okay,
I'll get you the list. I'll see if I can get the list of rules.
Thanks. Yeah, let's do that. We'll put it right up next to your ranker polls that you love so much. All right, All-Star Games.
Last week.
Are they fun? Yes, you did win last week. You definitely did. All-Star Games. Are they fun anymore? Tom brought up this topic. There's really not a lot there's not a lot of articles about this. We're kind of more of our own opinion on this. And it's funny that he brought this up because I actually was having a conversation a couple nights ago with a friend of mine about that. And it was mostly about the NBA because the All-Star Games and the NBA, for baseball, football, I really don't pay much attention to. The NBA back in the day, I thought was, and we'll go from this, I thought obviously with Jordan, Larry Bird, Dr. Whatever was a spectacle. It was amazing. They actually took credit. There was credibility in the games. I think now it's just showboating. Nobody's really going to do anything in the NFL game or to get hurt. They're going to get hurt, or it's just whatever. It's just, there's no spectacle about it. There's no mystique about it anymore. And it's just for the fact of, all right, let's play, and the NBA is that way now too. I don't know what happened, and I will be honest, and maybe it's because of nostalgia and the way I look at the NBA. Jordan in the 90s, that was the height of all-star basketball. I mean, I look forward to the All-Star game before I looked after a regular season basketball game. So do we even need the All-Star games anymore? Is it even worth it at this point? Tom, you want to take your take on this?
I don't know. They're just really boring to me. I think the only All-Star game that I'll try and watch every once in a while is the MLB All-Star game, just because baseballs is the only one that is basically the sport you watch every day. Like, you can't really half-ass baseball. You kind of just have to play. Like, pitchers have to pitch like they normally would. Hitters got to hit like they normally would. And defense is the same as every game. That's literally the game you watch every single day, except with the best players on the field. Basketball sucks because there's no defense, and it's just really boring because it's just guys jacking up threes and running the score up. Football's basically a bunch of guys playing touch football and pads, and hockey's like ice dancing with a puck. It's not, and you could tell that nobody cares. You could tell that in a lot of those sports, nobody really cares. You're right, Herb. Back in the day, I didn't watch a lot of those All-Star games because I was too young, but people actually cared about it and took it seriously. Nobody does that anymore. It's just an exhibition game that everybody just shows up for, and you get fined if you don't.
Right. Snacks.
I never really watch. I mean, I watch them for entertainment value. It's not anything to.
Not even entertaining anymore, though.
It's all entertainment.
I just don't. It's the NFL. It used to be for what was it? They used to play it. God, I can't remember now. They used to play it, and it was for bragging rights. But I mean, then they used to do it in baseball. Used to do it with who was going to be home for.
That's what sucked. Yeah, it was if the NL or the AL won, it decided who was going to have home field advantage in the World Series. Yeah.
And they don't do that anymore, right? They don't do that. So that took that out of there, and that was always fun because then you had guys that actually laid out. If a ball got hit on the ground, they actually dove to try and stop it. But now they just kind of go run over and try to get it. Oh, it went through. It's it's not.
I was saying. No, what were you saying?
Go ahead.
No, it's of all of the All-Star games, I feel like baseball is the only one that's the closest to a regular game than the rest of them.
Yeah, because football, you got to get, you got 4 quarterbacks. So one's going to play a full quarter, or a full half, and then the other ones are going to play a couple of series of downs just so they get in. And it's like, okay, well, I don't really want to.
They don't
watch
hit,
that, you know,
and they can't hit,
or they opt out of it. They say, "Oh, I'm not going to go. I got, my shoulders are still sore from whatever, and I'm not going to go out and play." So now all of a sudden, now you got an alternate.
Yeah.
So now you're bringing a kid that should have deservedly got the thing because the guy didn't want to be in there. Right. It's an honor to be selected.
Oh, by far. I agree with you. I think the actual let's break it down, because as a kid, again, not now, but as a kid, the All-Star weekend for the NBA was amazing for me. The dunk contest, I didn't really give two craps about the actual game, but all the side contests that they were doing, like the home run. See, the dunking contest, they've not done what they've done back in the 90s. It's lackluster at this point. I mean, what more can you do? But what I'm saying is, let's forget the All-Star game itself, since there's no reason to have it because nobody's going to get home field advantage whether what side wins or not. So we'll do the home run, the home run challenge, because the players want that. They want to make sure they are the home run king. They will put effort in that. The slam dunk competition, they're going to do that. The NFL does their own little running and stats and blocking and maneuvers and have a little obstacle course. Do that without the game. Nobody's getting hurt. Add some more things to it. The fans are going to love it. There's nothing against. We're watching the games already all season. Not that we don't want to watch another game, but let's give us something different that we don't get. Make it something respectable again. Make it, do more than just a dunking tournament, slam dunk tournament.
Yeah.
Do more than the home run. Maybe do, whatever. I think that would be more entertaining. And I think, as you were saying, Tom, baseball, you really can't half-ass it. I mean, you can be lazy and just decide to not hit as hard as you want to, but what's the point in that? I mean, you're going to look like an idiot. What's going on, Kim? So I think having those side, I don't want to say carnival, but the side fun atmosphere, I think would make us enjoy each game a little bit better. And like you're saying, Tom, the players want to be slam dunk champion. Baseball player wants to be the home run champion. That's where you're going to see them really going out of their way and going for the gusto.
Oh no, I agree with you. The home run derby is much more fun than the actual All-Star game. The 3-point competition and the dunk contest are way more entertaining than the actual All-Star game. So no, I think you're right. That's like, it's the All-Star weekend is what's more fun than the actual game. I totally agree with that. I'd rather go see the home run derby than I would rather go see the All-Star game. That'd be a lot more fun.
And it's the same way too, as we talked when they mic'd up Tiger Woods and Nicholson for the golf match there. We're getting to hear players now that we don't get to hear on the field. They're mic'd. Those players in the home run, and there's some serious trash talking. Minus F-bomb.
Oh yeah,
there's some serious trash talking there. That's entertaining. That's where we need. Again, I don't think we could ever mic up a football team because it'd be a constant.
Oh yeah,
but, I mean. But we know what's going on because players are mic'd in the NFL documentaries. I think that added bonus. And again, take it from the All-Star, take it from the home run derby, put that in the game, mic up a couple players. I think that's entertaining. I'd rather hear that than hear the crowd or the because we have no fans, the fake noise piped in. I mean, don't get me wrong, it was a nice effect. And it does take you away from it a little bit, but I'd love to have players just mic'd up. I think that would be great for the game. I think that'd be fun and entertaining. That would bring non-sports people in there. I really think that would bring some non-sports people in there because I want to know what the players are saying. Now, Snacks has been on the field. He knows, and there's some serious trash talking about his mom, your mother and everything else. But I think having that atmosphere, not every game, but every once in a while, having that gives a new aspect to the game. And I think you connect with a player or you connect with a team by doing that. When we listen to the home run derby guys and they're talking smack and you're like, wow, okay, that's pretty cool. They're actually real people. They're not like these idols that we put on pedestals. They're real players. These are real human beings. I think that's an added bonus and brings a connection to the game. I think that could be done in any game.
Right. I think they did that 2 years. I think baseball did that 2 years ago, maybe. I think they actually for the All-Star game had players mic'd up and they were interacting with the booth, the radio booth, the TV booth, the commentators. Yeah, I think baseball did that. I I think it winds up being a tightrope that they don't like to walk because sometimes the players are kind of all for the being mic'd up, but I know some players are like, I don't want to be mic'd up 24/7 because I don't, in the heat of the moment, I don't know what I'm going to say.
Right,
and they saw Sam Darnold like 2 or 3 years ago when he was playing the Pats, and he said, "I'm seeing ghosts." Yeah, nobody wants that to happen to them. So
and it was turmoil for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's like, oh my God, Sam Darnold seeing ghosts. Another Jets quarterback that can't take it.
Well, you can do what radio does. It's a 3-4 second delay. So if there's F-bombs, you can always bleep them out.
Yeah, but you never know when that's coming. And you can't, like, imagine you're the guy.
Imagine you're the guy.
Imagine you're the guy. Imagine the guy that let that "I'm seeing ghosts" thing go. That was like sports radio hosts and columnists and bloggers were foaming at the mouth when that happened. They were like rabid dogs ready to rip Sam Darnold to pieces.
But just like in radio, you don't know when your guest is going to say the F-bomb. That's why there's a 3-second delay. And there is the guy that has that button. It could be the same guy that's pushing the sound effect button for the crowd. I think he could do that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because you do have a 3-second delay.
That's true.
So we're all in unanimous opinion that All-Star Games are just BS. So
yeah, they're lame now.
Pretty much. Wah, wah. All right. We're going to end the show today with Today in Sports History. Today in Sports History is brought to you by The Shirt Factory. And you need to go over to The Shirt Factory's Facebook page, Shirt Factory GF, or the shirtfactorygf.com, because they just started announcing some of the vendors that are coming out for the fight, for the March. I always get the name wrong.
Meltdown, Spicy Food Meltdown.
Yes, the 2021 Winter Meltdown Spicy Food Day. There's tacos. There's so much. We're gonna be listing them out throughout the week. But go over to their Facebook page or their website. It is a free event. It is Saturday, March 20th. Starts at 10 a.m. Like I said, it's free. The admission is free. Just think about it as the food truck corral, but inside. So you can stay warm. There will be social distancing. You got to wear masks unless you're eating. All the tables will be spread out. We are hopefully going to be there broadcasting live. Somewhere inside the Shirt Factory. I'm hoping to get next to the taco vendor, and so I can get some tacos. We'll
I think they're going to set some of those vendors up outside in the parking lot so that the people can actually go out there too as well. I know that they just announced the donuts, the Adirondack Oreos, which they do the mini donuts. Oh, you could stand in line. Yeah. I'll stand in line for an hour to wait to get those.
So we'll give you more information as it gets closer. Like I said, we're hopefully going to be broadcasting live there. We'll see. We'll have to talk with the owners. Hank and I will have to talk with the owners, and we'll be talking. Hopefully, do the vendors. If we don't go live, I think I'm still going to try to broadcast or at least do some video interviews and then broadcast it later, or do some Facebook Live off the phone. But we have the gear. We have all the things to do. We just make sure that they have the space for us there. So again, check out the shirtfactorygf.com for some of the awesome shops that they have there and some other events. Mr. Tom Greer, take it away in sports history.
Okay, so we got a little bit of a short day today in sports history, but today back in 1936, Babe Ruth turned down the Cincinnati Reds to make a comeback as a baseball player. The Babe said it was done, and every time I think about Babe Ruth at the end of his career, I think about the movie that John Goodman did as Babe Ruth. Did you ever see that movie?
Yeah.
And he's just like slowly trotting down to first base and just touches it and just like he just looks like old and disheveled and stuff like that. But
because at that point he just doesn't give two shits.
he's old, beat up, smoked too many cigars, drank too much. He can't do it anymore. 1946, Ted Williams is offered $500,000 to play in a Mexican league. He obviously says no, but imagine $500K in 1946. I don't even know what that converts to nowadays. I just know that that's a lot of money.
That's millions of dollars.
Millions of dollars. 1976, the New York Islanders, Glenn Chico Resch, he records his 10th shutout against the St. Louis Blues 4-0. 1993, the Pittsburgh Penguins begin an NHL record 17-game winning streak. And finally, 1995, I had to slip some baseball in. Major League Baseball owners admit 2 new teams into the major leagues, the Arizona Diamondbacks and the Tampa Bay Devil Rays, now the Tampa Bay Rays. The teams get assigned to leagues in January of 1997. Obviously, American League, National League, Diamondbacks, National League, Tampa Bay, American League.
Nice.
Duh.
That is today in sports history. Brought to you by the Shirt Factory. Visit shirtfactorygf.com. Everybody, thank you so much for joining us on tonight's heated discussion on the Sports Edition. I like how the new rundown is going. Tom's doing a good job. I like this a little bit more than what we were doing before, so it's really good. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And as always, I want to thank our sponsors for today's episode. Obviously, it is Body Armor. Visit drinkbodyarmor.com for a location near you. They just brought out Body Armor Edge. Yes, and Hank's got the traditional body armor, which is amazing. Check out. I
finished all mine.
You did. Well, we'll get you some more. Check them out, as well as the Shirt Factories I just mentioned, and of course, we can never forget Chase Sports Complex. Visit chasesportscomplex.com for their hours of operation, and they are getting quite busy. As Hank is the manager there, and like I said, they have indoor volleyball courts, batting cages. There's a lot of other activities that can be done there. Yeah, I can't wait to. I haven't been there in a few weeks myself. I got to get back in there and do some stuff.
It's been insane.
It's crazy. But again, visit them at chasesportscomplex.com for any information, or if you need to contact them, because you know what? When you contact them, you'll be talking to Snacks. So, any last words for tonight's show before we go, Tom?
I'll just reiterate from before: 23 more days until baseball season starts. Everybody, let's go Mets!
And it'll be 22 days until our last episode.
Fine, I'll got my own baseball show.
I got to figure out how many more days it is for football to start.
I'll look it up.
Yeah, we'll look it up. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you guys have a great night, and I will see you all tomorrow.
This has been an Earplug Podcast presentation. Found on earplugpodcast.com, iTunes, SoundCloud, and wherever your favorite podcasts are found.